I'm here now in the Macedonian History Museum. You see, it's beautifully well done museum, the history of Macedonia, and it must be understood as the independence struggle against the colonialism of the Ottoman Empire. Here you see the whole dimension what was seen as Macedonia, and in Saloniki actually the movement started. Here what is today Skopje, and it was a very big area including much parts of Halkidiki, Greece. This is the idea basically, and then the independence movement started already from the Vienna Congress obviously, but then the big Eastern crisis and the efforts here led very often by the church to liberate the Balkan Christians from the Turkish. I have a mask on, so I don't know if you can. This is one of the religious leaders, and you see many of the heroes. And that's why we should also take this very seriously. It's a movement of liberation of Europeans from Turkey. That was the reality, or not from Turkey, it was Ottoman Empire. It was an anti-colonial struggle in many ways, and a liberation movement which has deserved its role in European history and which has a big significance. But you know, we have to all keep it in perspective, yeah? Not to somehow have religious or other kind of issues now interpreted. Here you see the foundation meeting. That's why it is very important here. This is the foundation meeting of the Wimmerer. This is the start in 1893, 23rd of October. That was basically in Saloniki, the meeting where they started the independence movement, yeah, of this area. Today we have still Wimmerer party here in Macedonia, which is the leading center-right or conservative populist, you can decide, party, and obviously the independence from Macedonia from the Ottoman Empire was very important. It shouldn't be a national day though. It's one national day which is enough, but obviously it should be celebrated. It's a very important part of European history, and here you see atrocities committed by the Ottoman Imperial Army against the civilians. Here as well, it was of course very brutal suppression, and here also political prisoners. And here I see repressive measures in 1897. Obviously there were continuous level of crimes by the Ottoman Empire against Balkan Christians. And you see here the efforts, the Komitati school, that was their training camp for the revolutionary army. And here you see much of this secret, the Macedonian Revolutionary Organization Council in Resen in 94. Obviously they organized themselves in order to liberate this area. But it's very difficult. That was 92. That was the big year of the Linden uprising. It was very difficult to separate the history of Macedonia and Bulgaria and to some extent of Albania in these years, because obviously it was all very connected and it was one independent struggle. At that time Bulgaria was still no independent country, and it was only Montenegro, Serbia and Romania which was really internationally recognized. And all the other countries, Albania, Macedonia, and the north of Greece also was part of Ottoman Turkey still at this moment. Here were American missionaries. They were kidnapped. If you're reminded by Karl May and a little bit of the times, that's not a... You see here the Komitati leaders, Macedonian revolutionary. The problem is that the term Macedonian was therefore not so much for this country specifically, for the whole region. It was much more for everything which was Ottoman Turkey. used at that time, so it's confusing and it's a bit misleading to discuss everything in today's territorial state terms, because it was regions. It was a region of Ottoman Macedonia, Ottoman Turkey. And so we are coming to the second floor. Oh, a very nice museum. Well done, actually. That is in 1903, of course, the big independence and struggle comitati at the SMIEL, a congress. I personally have also to read much more, to learn much more. Basically, the Austrian Empire and the Russians wanted to divide the Ottoman Empire. I speak in my podcast quite a lot about that. And they made a lot of hope to all the people here. But it was obviously not. That was